Good evening. I'm Brady Borrell for the KQKI Digital Video Network. Thank you for joining us for our live coverage of tonight's forum for the candidates running for St. Mary Parish President. Another forum featuring candidates for St. Mary Parish Sheriff will be held on Monday, September 25th at 6 p.m. at the Patterson Civic Center. Both forums are sponsored by the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce. Tonight's forum is being held here at the Bayou Bend Health Systems Wellness Center. Beautiful facility here in the conference, or the banquet room, or the ballroom, excuse me. You can watch all of our live coverage of the forums on all of our video platforms, including the KQKI smartphone app, kqki.live, Facebook, YouTube, and also on the KQKI TV apps for Roku and Amazon Fire Stick. Now, there will not be a live forum for parish council candidates due to there being over 20 candidates running for those positions. Therefore, a questionnaire has been sent to the council candidates. Their responses will be released in a digital publication a week from tomorrow, September 29th, the day before early voting begins, and we will publish those results at kqkinews.com. Remember, early voting begins next Saturday, September 30th, running through Saturday, October 7th, with Election Day on Saturday, October 14th. We will begin shortly. We also want to thank Ms. Danica Foley-Long, who is tonight's moderator. Of course, Danica is with KWBJ TV in Morgan City. And again, we want to thank the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring tonight's forum. This is a series, this is a third in a series of forums that they have sponsored, including the Senate District 21 forum a few weeks ago. They were sponsoring this one tonight, and then of course Monday night, the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Candidate Forum at 6 p.m. at the Patterson Civic Center. We will get underway shortly.
Welcome everyone. Can you have your seats, please? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending tonight's Chamber Forum. I'm Laura Meadows, Chairwoman of the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce. The purpose of St. Mary's Chamber of Commerce's political forums is to enlighten, educate, and empower voters to make informative decisions at the polls. I ask that you, the audience, remain respectful of the moderator and candidates, you remain respectful of one another, our moderator, and our timekeeper. I would now like to introduce to you our moderator for this evening, Mrs. Danica Foley-Long, an esteemed member of our community as St. Mary Parish newscaster with KWBJ News 22, immediate past president of St. Mary Toastmasters, board member for the Tesh Theater of the Performing Arts, and member of the Board of Directors for the St. Mary Chamber of Commerce. Danica will start the program with an invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Thank you. Please stand and bow your heads. Loving God, bless all those who have gathered here today as we come together in friendship and fellowship. Thank you for the blessings of our individual and collective God-given gifts. Place in our hearts the desire to make a difference within our families, in our community, and in our country. Give us balance and wisdom and help us to accomplish goals respectfully and with integrity. Jesus, thank you for humbling yourself to walk alongside us as a man. Help our leaders be willing to walk alongside each other, their constituents, and especially those who are marginalized. Our leaders may have different opinions and priorities. Give them the insight to navigate those differences and work together to strengthen our parish and region. Remind us in this election year that you have called us Christians to be one body. Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Before we begin, I would like to thank and acknowledge our dignitaries that have taken the time out of their busy schedule to be here tonight. Please hold all applause until the very end. Evan Boudreau, our Economic Development Director. Mrs. Gwen Hidalgo, St. Mary Parish Council at Large, District 10. Lindsay Anslem, St. Mary Parish School Board. Rodney Olander, St. Mary Parish Council, District 3. And are there any other elected officials that I may not have mentioned? Great. We meet again, gentlemen. Last time. We will now begin tonight's forum with the candidates for St. Mary Parish President. And directly following this forum, we will give Mrs. Gloria Robertson, please raise your hand, a few minutes to make a statement, as she was in attendance at the previous forum. Due to finishing early, she was not able to make a statement. Those currently running for St. Mary Parish President are Sam Jones and Timothy Tim LeBlanc. Thank you, candidates, for joining us and giving St. Mary Parish an opportunity to hear from you. I will quickly go over our guidelines, so we may begin. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to give his opening statement. As you see here in front, the lady right here, in front of the stage is our timekeeper, Ms. Lori Broussard. She will hold up a sign when there is only 1 minute remaining, 30 seconds remaining, and when your time is done, she will ring a bell like so. Please be respectful of everyone's time this evening. And y'all know, like I said last time, I will respectfully cut you off. Thank you. Mr. Jones, you are first. Please give your opening statement.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not new to politics. I'm not new to being elected to office. In 1982, I was elected mayor of Franklin. Then got reelected 5 additional times. Yeah, I guess I got to do that.
We will hold time.
We will hold time.
Yielding his time back.
Okay. I was elected mayor of Franklin in 1982. Got elected, I think, 5 more times. In the middle of my 6th term, went to Baton Rouge to work with Governor Kathleen Blanco, who called me to her house and asked me if I would consider helping her in her campaign. Went to her house. There were, I think, 10 ladies and me. And Coach was put in the kitchen and told not to come out. And she had struggled with having a son who had been killed in a mechanical accident in Morgan City the year before. And she was really struggling. And every time I saw her, she was just not there. But when she called, her voice was different. She gave a rock-roaring speech to us and infected me. And I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and help you. Well, she won. She told me to quit being mayor, come to Baton Rouge and work with her. I did that. Of course, Hurricane Katrina came, and that was a destructive hurricane, probably the most destructive hurricane we've ever had. And at the end of that term, she decided not to run. I ran for the State House. You were kind enough to elect me. I was reelected 2 times without opposition. And then I'm still working in Baton Rouge for the current governor. That will end at the end of this year. We've done a lot of things in those years in Baton Rouge. The most important one has been flood control. We've had flood control issues here for years, probably 100 years. I can tell you today, our chances of being flooded has been reduced from 50% during a hurricane to maybe 2%. We have put gates, we've built the Bayou Chene facility over in Morgan City to prevent flooding. That flooding is prevented all the way up to West Baton Rouge Parish, but primarily it helps our parish. We finished the gates over here, all the way down Bayou Teche. If a hurricane comes, there will not be flooding. It will be closed. The gates will be closed. In all, we spent about $250 million on that. That's just part of what we've done in Baton Rouge. And I want to just close this comment by saying this facility that we're in, Senator Brett Alley and I got the money and built it. No cost to the people of this parish. No borrowing of money, none of that. This is a facility whose time has come, and it, as you see, working really well. Thank you.
Mr. Long, will you give your statement?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for having us and hosting us. I'm excited to be here this evening, attending the St. Mary Parish Commerce Forum to discuss my candidacy for St. Mary Parish President. I'm a lifelong resident of Franklin, graduated at Franklin Senior High, continued my education at Young Memorial, graduating with an electrical degree. I married my high school sweetheart, Karen Hebert LeBlanc. Together we had two wonderful children, Jamin and Megan. Many may know Karen as Director of Administration and City Clerk of the City of Franklin. She has worked for the city for the last 16 years, and she has been my rock and my support, my best friend. I'm very proud of raising our kids here in St. Mary Parish and looking forward to their bright future. I have a career of 23 years in the oil and gas industry. Through that time, I have grown as a husband, a father, and a leader. I understand that without compromise and humility, we can't move forward. Without compromise, we can't reach the goals for all. Without humility, we can't reach our full potential. It's time for a change. It's time for new leaders to step up. It is time for a new generation to lead St. Mary Parish forward. I look forward to working with each and every one in the community leaders, and tribal leaders. Thank you.
Thank you. St. Mary Chamber of Commerce invited the public to submit questions prior to this evening's forum and has accepted questions from the public tonight as well. For this evening's forum, I will pull at random 10 questions to be asked. If you need the question to be repeated at any time, please just ask. Each candidate will have the opportunity to first answer the question with a 2-minute time frame and then be allowed an additional 30-second rebuttal or comment. Again, each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond and 30 seconds to give a rebuttal or comment following the candidate's responses, if they so choose. When the bell rings, your allotted time is finished. We will rotate candidates for each question, so each of you will have an opportunity to respond first. I would ask for a drum roll, but we're in a padded room. Thank you. Mr. Jones, you are first. Question number 1. Will you work to prevent or stop coastal lawsuits against the oil and gas industry in St. Mary Parish? Why or why not?
Every time I've run for state representative, I've been endorsed by the oil and gas industry. I've been a friend to the oil and gas industry. I know where I'm from. I think those things are going to eventually stop. There's no point in that. However, we do need to clean up some of the oil spills and things like that. I think everybody saw that. litigator. I've never sued anybody for anything. Those things are just over the top. If somebody comes and does damage to your house or something like that, perhaps. But other than that, I don't think so. And I guess that's really the only answer I can give. Just not favorable to that.
Mr. LeBlanc?
Thank you. This has been a debate for some time now. In 2022, the decision to join a lawsuit was brought before the St. Mary Parish Council. During that time, the council was able to discuss and gather information on this and discovered that it's not in the best interest of St. Mary Parish to move forward to join this lawsuit. The council voted 10-0 against the resolution. I believe that was the right path. This approach allowed the elected council to have a voice from the people that they elected from. I encourage that same approach. I believe the council should have a say and a right to decide. With the ability to ask the questions and understand the direction of St. Mary Parish. We should take that same approach. We should not have a single person decision on this. The voice of the council and the community should have a voice. The facts and understanding and consequences of lawsuits have to be evaluated. With that said, personally, I will absolutely not support any class action lawsuits against the oil and gas industry unless it's justified and involves negligence. The oil and gas industry is vital to our economy for St. Mary Parish. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, would you like to offer any additional comments or rebuttal?
Yeah, we get the same.
Mr. LeBlanc, comment or rebuttal?
Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Question number 2. And this will start off with Mr. LeBlanc. Ooh, it's a lengthy one, okay? Who wrote this? During the COVID shutdown, our parish president, the coroner, our sheriff, and the director of emergency preparedness did an outstanding job of keeping us updated on what was going on. Much better than the governor's office, in my opinion. The person reading or who wrote this, their opinion. During the pandemic, our Department of Office of Emergency Preparedness made a statement about the number of COVID cases that were being double and triple counted. We are certain that the governor's office called and threatened our local officials if they did not stop bringing up these facts. My question is that if you are the parish president and we have another pandemic, will you do what is best for our residents of St. Mary Parish, or will you do what your higher ups tell you to do?
Thank you for the question. But facts are the facts. I will not move away from being transparent and honest about what information is getting to the public. This is our path forward. There will be not manipulate any facts. COVID was worrisome for a lot of families and communities. The uncertainty whether that we are getting factual information should not be a concern. COVID was the first pandemic we experienced. There were so many unknowns, including severity. I am proud that St. Mary Parish did not close down and allow people to be personally responsible for their decisions. If a pandemic should ever surface, I will make the same decisions to make sure with all public leaders. I would not be about taking away any liberties. I am not in support of mandates. They should have the freedom to make their own decisions in the best interest of themselves and their families. Thank you.
And just in the interest of those who are watching our media partners, if you don't mind, I'll just read the last part for you, Mr. Jones. My question is, as parish president, and if we have another pandemic, will you do what is best for the residents of St. Mary Parish, or will you do what your higher-ups tell you to do?
Whoever wrote the question apparently had some problems with what went on, but what I can tell you happened is that if you didn't want to take the shot, you didn't have to take the shot. A lot of people didn't take the shot. I took them. I've never had COVID. I don't want COVID, but I took them. Whatever we do, we need to advise people the facts. This is what will happen if you don't take it. This is what will happen if you do take it. Leaving people out there to guess about it is counterproductive. And when it comes down to leadership, you have to lead. People will look to you and ask you for advice. They will ask you, where do I go? What do I do? I had hundreds of people ask me that during this time period. Most of them took the shots. Some of them did not. Some of them that did not take the shot passed away. Some that took the shots passed away. It was a tragic moment for us in 100 years since it happened once before. This is the United States of America. We are free to do or not to do. That's in the Constitution. I will always give the best information I have. You can look at certain leaders and trust them. Some of them you cannot. You have to pick through it and figure out which one can I trust. Who is really telling me the truth? Who gives a damn about me? That's what I look for. That's how I'll advise the parish on the future incidents like this. And by the way, COVID's not over.
I would just say another comment that again, the facts are the facts. It's very important that we produce those facts with evidence and push it down to the public so they can make their own decisions to where they can make an educated decision and move forward with their families.
Mr. Jones, a comment or a rebuttal?
No, ma'am, we can go on.
Thank you, candidates. On to question number 3. I'm pulling. Yeah, I'm pulling. What, and this, I apologize, this goes for Mr. Jones. What is the role of the parish president for St. Mary Parish? Would you describe the role as public relations officer for the parish?
Every one of them is a full-time parish president. We are the only parish, except for Caddo Parish in North Louisiana. We're the only parish in the last 10 years that lost population. We lost 5,000 people. Even Caddo was 25 people. And I think one of the major reasons for that is we have a full-time parish president. Comes in, signs a few checks, gets out, and turns it over to the CEO. The CEO runs everything. We don't even know sometimes what the CEO is doing. We don't know who he's hiring. We don't know what's going on with that. The parish president should be the leader of the government, just like the mayors are the leaders of the government. The mayors have leaders, they have assistants, but when it comes down to it, it's on the mayor's back if he fails to do the right thing. And it's applauded if he does the right thing. I for one, will be a full-time parish president de facto. Because I think it's that important. Right now, we have borrowed at the parish level almost $50 million. You know how we're going to pay that back? Your tax dollars. Your tax dollars are going to pay that back in something called the Royalty Road Fund. Every year we give the parishes between $3.5 million and $5 million from something called the Royalty Road Fund, which is 10% of the oil and gas that comes from underneath the ground here. They even borrowed against that. They're having trouble making payroll. Last meeting, I said we had a couple of people call me. Since then, I've had 3 more calls in a panic. The parish council is dysfunctional. We need function. We need somebody that's driving it.
Thank you. Before I get into the actual questions, just want to make a comment as far as the debt of St. Mary Parish goes. The debt has been based off of bonds, and that bonds is available to any parish. So, and being the budget is allowing to pay that back. So you have to have a balanced budget by the law. So when you have a balanced budget, you're paying some of those bonds back. And going back to the actual question, the parish president is the face of St. Mary Parish. The parish president is the connection between the parish government and the public, addressing concerns and challenges of residents, businesses, the face of every day, attending public meetings of other organizations throughout the parish, promoting community involvement. The parish president is the tip of the spear when it comes to how the St. Mary Parish will be perceived by the public. The parish president is vital in coordinating emergency response efforts and attracting new businesses and improving the economic well-being of the parish.
Mr. Jones, would you like to offer a comment or a vote?
I have a couple of comments on that. The bond issue is maxed out at the parish. That is a fact. If you didn't have a bond before, you have one now, you have to pay it off. The money you're paying off with is money that could have been used to build roads, repair roads, and do things like that. So that, I don't even understand what you're trying to say with that. We are in a bind when it comes to making payroll today, folks. Payroll. Who does that? Who does that?
That is your time, Mr. LeBlanc.
Again, I think that bonds are used to promote infrastructure improvements. Those are important to move forward. That happens every day. That happens to every community. This is part of running a parish. So
Those funds were a bailout for the parish.
Oh, wait, let's be respectful.
I'm just telling you, so what to do.
Still have time.
We do.
Mr. LeBlanc, you're done?
yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
Question number 4. And we will start off with you, Mr. LeBlanc. What are your top 5 priorities for the parish in the next 4 years?
Thank you for the question. I think my candidate and my opponent mentioned one is population loss, housing, consolidation, infrastructure, and economic development. Economic development should be first and foremost. St. Mary Parish, greatest resort is available land we have. However, to be competitive, we need to have those sites available for regular business. This means working with our utility partners to expand electrical, gas, and telecommunication infrastructure, and connecting to our transportation networks to these sites to allow for greater flow of access to product and material. We need to increase government contract opportunities for small businesses, develop incentive programs to encourage small businesses to develop and grow. We need to work hand in hand with St. Mary Parish Economic Development Organization to ensure that we're receiving proper support to carry out and accomplish these goals. This means having regular meetings with the director to make sure the knowledge and activity of the department is well known. Attending conferences, businesses, introductory meetings with potential new businesses, and making sure the director is on the same page as the parish government and council. That will take St. Mary Parish to competitive and attractive for new business places. This does not happen without the work of the city and tribal leaders. If the cities grow, the parish will grow. If our parish grows, the city will do the same. Thank you.
Mr. Jones?
Man, we've done that for years. You know how you get a business to come? You have them call, they come in, they meet with you, you have a conversation with them, you figure out if they're real or not. If they're real, then you go after them. I'll give you an example. Kumo Tires. Kumo Tires is going to buy the property, or they're in the process of buying it right across from this hospital today. They're going to employ 150 people in that distribution center. If that one works out well within the next 3 years, is that for me?
No. He has to answer the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking it was a rebuttal. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
Please continue.
I'm so sorry. Keep going.
If that works out in the next 3 to 4 years, Kumo Tire will will go next to one of the carbon black plants and they'll start making tires here. That could produce as many as 700 jobs. How did you do that? After they came here and they discussed it, Governor Evans, I met with Governor Evans. I asked him and said, we need to go to South Korea and talk to him. He said, well, you want to go? I said, well, no, you're the governor. Would you go? He said, I'll go. He went the following week. It was an impressive meeting. He met the chairman of the board. When he left, the chairman of the board said, I'm putting $100 million into this project. We're going to get it started. That's how you go get a business to come here. In the same token, the businesses that are here, we need to go and see them and ask them what we can do to help them to maintain themselves. What can we do to help them expand themselves? They've been the job getters for years, and we need to work with them. They've taken a hit during the pandemic, but we need to work with them and make sure that they stay strong and we don't lose any more of them. And I presume you're about to hit me with the bell, so I'll stop right there.
Mr. LeBlanc, comment or rebuttal?
My rebuttal is that at the end of the day, he mentioned about population loss and doing this for years. Where are we at now? We're still losing people. We're still losing businesses. So we have to make a change. Thank you.
Mr. Jones?
What we're doing is the old-fashioned thing. We need to step up into this century and just really go after it. We need to restructure our economic development programs. We need to make sure that the people in there are really chasing it and chasing the real things and not the things that are not real. Thanks.
Question number 5.
Construction.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir.
What is your stance on all the consolidations that were made over the past administrator's term? Do you think the commissions, boards, districts have benefited from this, or has it been a detriment in some cases, and has the parish saved money by consolidation?
I presume you're talking about the water boards and all
I assume so.
Look, I think that it's failed. Not totally, but it's failed. What we need to do is consolidation. The water districts were made back 125 years ago just to give people a minimal amount of water, and they were made in very strategic places all over the parish. As we become more mobile, the need for water has become more available to more people. We probably could consolidate some of them and save costs. I do believe that we need to hire someone that would go to each plant once a week and check the water, make sure it's right, because right now we're getting too darn many letters in the mail saying your water wasn't good, and we get it 2 months after that happened. We need to be on top of it. The water needs to be safe to drink, safe to bathe in, and people need to know that. That didn't happen. I was mayor for 22 years. That happened one time in 22 years. Now it's happening constantly, and we deserve better than that. We deserve a better product than that. So my answer is some consolidation, some oversight, and someone who really can get in there and check those things and keep us up front and keep us notified on these issues. That's it.
Mr. LeBlanc, if you don't mind, let me repeat the question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your stance on all the consolidations that were made over the past administrator's term? Do you think the commissions, boards, districts have benefited from this, or has it been a detriment in some cases? And has the parish saved money by consolidation?
Consolidation can work if it's done right. Merging government infrastructure can reduce duplication of services and save money and improve efficiency. When discussing consolidation, you have to include loss of population. That is the key contributor when you're talking about consolidation. We must get the right people in the room to discuss the pros and cons of each district. If we do this right, we could benefit the parish and the city communities. To be successful in consolidation requires us to establish clear goals and objectives for the public service, and to adopt general acceptances and ways of measuring those performances. During the discussion, it's very important to have transparency so that we not cloud our goals to better serve our community, and to make sure that we're driving down costs for our citizens. It is important to go in with the mindset that it best affects our citizens and personnel. Consolidation is needed where it works. If it's needed, I will support it. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, would you like to comment?
Yeah, I would. Let me tell you, one board that worked really well was the levy board. The levy board was organized and passed by state law. Parish made some appointments, city made some appointments, state made some appointments. They've done a great job. The levy board is located in Morgan City in a facility that we helped build. Cost $11 million to support office, but they have their office there too. They've done a really good job at preventing flooding. They were our vehicle when we had money from the state to give for them to improve the area. They did it. One time they borrowed money and we paid them back, cleared it all up in 3 years, no debt after that. They've done good. So my point is, the blanket question doesn't apply. It's each individual entity and each service that they give that needs to be studied and needs to be refined if necessary.
Mr. LeBlanc?
No, I think that was just my comments as well. We got to get the right people. We got to get the group of professionals in there to determine whether it works for the citizens and works for the personnel. We have to get to that point. We have to have those discussions. We have to be transparent and discuss those in an open conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Everybody, we are halfway there. Woo, let's get your energy in here. All right, I like it. All right. Question number 6, and just to remind you, of course, you have 2 minutes to respond to the original question and 30 seconds to give a comment or a rebuttal. Question number 6, we'll start off with you, Mr. LeBlanc. What do you see as the biggest challenges for the parish in the next 4 years? Sounds like the same question. Let's see, I think they may have asked the same question.
No, it was down there. I think it was different.
It's different.
Yeah.
Good, okay.
So I think we talked about it a little bit already this evening with loss of population. We need to turn this around. We must find the answer. A lot of people work in St. Mary Parish, but do not live in St. Mary Parish and live in our nearby communities and parishes. Our workforce is staying committed to working in St. Mary Parish, but we must find a way to encourage that same workforce to not only live in St. Mary Parish and work in St. Mary Parish. This is done by listening to our workforce, business owners, citizens, city leaders, and tribal leaders. We must come together to fight this. This will lead to a better understanding of the needs of St. Mary Parish. Also, we need housing, particularly in apartments and rentals for workforce. Access to opportunities. We don't just need jobs. We need high quality, well-paying jobs that are not just accessible to our residents, but allow our residents to grow personally, professionally, and financially. We need jobs that provide quality benefits and opportunities for growth. We need jobs that are focused on careers of tomorrow and responds to the needs of our employers. St. Mary Parish should not be a place of opportunity to have hard come by or difficult access. Let me say that one more time. St. Mary Parish should not be a place where opportunity is hard to come by or difficult to access. Thank you.
Are you finished? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We're just going to take a 1-minute break while we change out microphones, okay? Just for Mr. Sam. Thank you.
All right.
And we want to thank you for your patience. We're having audio issues here. It's on their end and our end as well, but it looks like we're trying to get those taken care of. There's been some interference between our mics. They're changing some things out, and I've had to do that as well as on our end. So please give us a moment, and we'll come back, and we should be okay. Thank you for your understanding.
I think mine is working. Y'all hear me?
It's cut out, yeah.
So we're going to replace it. This one hopefully doesn't have some issue. Well, thank you all for your patience. I don't have any jokes for you tonight. Come back tomorrow night.
I think we did a 7-10 stretch.
Yeah. Right.
What is this one?
Immediately following the board, we will allow Ms. Gloria Robertson to give a comment. So please stick around.
Test, do you hear me?
Yes.
Were you up here with me before? Shall we start over? No. Okay.
You're good to go?
Remind me where we are.
Okay, I will repeat the question for you. What do you see as the biggest challenges for the parish in the next 4 years?
Finance, and finance. The place is a mess. They're struggling to make payroll. Never heard that before. I've heard from a number of people that have called from upstairs. That is a serious, serious problem. If you can't pay the workers, if you can't buy the materials, you're just stuck. The fact that we have a part-time parish president is one of the major reasons for the failures that we're having in this parish. I know he's running as a part-time and he's got a full-time job. Everywhere else, there's a full-time parish president. He's there all the time, or she's there all the time. They're working on things. They're moving their parishes ahead. Out of 17 parishes, we're the only one that does not have a full-time parish president. And what's happening to us? We're sinking. We're losing 5,000 people every 10 years. How long will that go on before we correct that issue and correct that problem? I don't know exactly the condition of the finances, but I know we bonded everything we can bond. And regardless of what he said, when you bond something, you have to pay that bond off. If you bond $10 million, you're going to have to pay off $15 million because there's interest with that bond. You're taking away your capital to be able to repair things and do things and take care of this parish. That is just a fact. You can't borrow money and pay it back at the same amount. That's not how it works. And then you have to go to the bond commission and get approval for it. And I promise you, if you go to the bond commission now, you will not pass. It won't happen. So our condition is dire. It's dire.
Mr. LeBlanc, would you like to give a rebuttal or comment?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. I think Mr. Jones made a comment earlier that the parish president only does come in and sign things and leaves. I think the parish president does more than that. I think it's important that he's in front of everyone and talking to the people and understanding their needs. Thank you.
The current parish president, there's a police officer that comes to every meeting so they don't have fist fights. Who else does that? Who in the world else does that? Which city council does that? That's how bad it's been under the parish council. Fist fights. Police officers. We need leadership. We need cooperation. We need civility there. And we haven't had that. We haven't had that. We need that to change.
Thank you, candidates. Question number 7. And we will begin with you, Mr. Jones. Do you believe lawsuits against the energy industry would harm St. Mary Parish's economy? Why or why not?
Do I believe what?
Do you believe lawsuits against the energy industry would harm St. Mary Parish's economy? Why or why not?
Do I believe lawsuits?
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 Yes.
All right, I'm not a lawsuit guy. I've never sued anybody in my life. We've been sued once and beat them. Those things are destructive to normal life. And nobody wants to sue. Nobody wants to be sued. And some of the things that the lawsuits are for are ridiculous. Occasionally there will be someone got hit in a car wreck or something like that, and that's legitimate. If someone's harmed, that's legitimate. But we just need to continue to work on our workforce and continue to expand our parish, or at least get it started all over again. Because folks, in the last 8 years, it's been not bad.
Mr. LeBlanc?
Thank you. All industries are currently operating and looking to expand in St. Mary Parish to evaluate risk, especially when the area that has pursued lawsuits. They will evaluate the likelihood of those lawsuits. Oil and gas industries provide a service for our communities and our businesses that operate in St. Mary Parish. We need them to operate our local areas as necessary for burning clean fuel for our industries such as sugar processors, carbon black plants, producing electricity, heating our homes, and running our hospitals, and many other community activities. The oil and gas industry follows strict state and federal laws that are in place to protect our community. I say this mentioned again earlier in the other questions that I absolutely would not support any class action lawsuit against the oil and gas industry unless it's justified or involves negligence. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, would you care to comment?
Yeah. No, let's go on.
Mr. LeBlanc, you have time. Would you like to comment?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
We're in agreement on that, so let's go on.
Question number 8. There's 3 more gentlemen. And we will start with you, Mr. LeBlanc. Do you have experience managing a budget for either a business or a government?
Thank you. My work history brings several ideal experiences for this job. Budget, project planning and execution, team building, decision making, and people management. For the last 10 years, I managed multi-million dollar budgets. That would include operating budgets and capital project budgets. St. Mary Parish is in a critical position for their future. It is time for new, fresh, and innovative ideas to be considered and no more status quo. Our government budget is a reflection of priorities. I plan to ensure that we utilize the taxpayers' money responsibly, efficiently, and transparently. Most importantly, I ensure that we're investing the taxpayer dollars in the places that will result in greatest return of investments for our residents. I believe working with the current administration, we can get through the tough decisions and turn St. Mary Parish around. Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
Yes, ma'am. My opponent just isn't dealing in reality. The budget problem is there. It's not going away. You can do the platitudes and all that other kind of stuff and read it off the paper, but when you get there, it's going to be real. You're going to have tough decisions to make. When I was the mayor of Franklin, I did 22 successful budgets. We never broke one. When I was in the state capitol, we did 12 successful budgets. Never broke one. What we have here is a catastrophe, and it's not going to fall on the current administration. It's going to fall on who replaces them. And the question I have for you, do you want someone that has a lifetime of experience in fixing budgets? The one budget we had that was horrific was Bobby Jindal when he cut everything and left us $2 billion in debt. It took us 2 years to fix that. 7 special sessions.
but we didn't stop. We didn't give up. At the end of this term, there's going to be $3 billion left in surplus for the new governor to come in. He's not going to be hamstrung like this administration was hamstrung. We can't keep doing platitudes. We have to solve these problems for real. We have to face them for real. We have to be honest with ourselves about them. We can't just keep reading from the paper and talking over and over about platitudes. This is real. This is real.
Mr. LeBlanc, back to you.
Thank you. I think my experience says for itself. I've dealt with budgets. I've dealt with tough decisions throughout those budgets, whether we have to cut or add revenue to it. There's always a reason for that, and we have to have documentation for those reasons to where we can move forward.
And where are you going to get the money? Where?
Question number 8, or number 9, excuse me. Mr. Jones, it is your turn. What problem or issue do you think is holding back the parish the most?
That's kind of redundant. The part-time parish president is definitely a factor. And I'll go back to this last question too, and just, I know Baton Rouge. I know there's going to be $3 billion in there next year, and I promise you, if you elect me to be parish president, we're going to get our share of that. It's not going to be a big share, but it's going to be significant. It'll be good enough to help pull us out of the muck and the mud that we're in now. That will be the largest challenge that we have. And we got to face it. We can't keep talking around it. We have to face it. That's my comment.
Mr. LeBlanc.
May you repeat the question, please?
Sure. What problem or issue do you think is holding back the parish the most?
So I think we talked about this a few times, is population loss, right? While job creation is a factor, the root cause isn't really job problems. It's just about every employer in St. Mary Parish is needing more employees. The challenge for St. Mary Parish is to attract people to live and work in St. Mary Parish, not work and live outside of St. Mary Parish. Population in St. Mary Parish doubles during the hours of Monday through Friday, but a large portion of our workforce lives outside of St. Mary Parish. We need to invest more into the quality of life assets, arts, culture, outdoor recreation, addressing properties, and work with our other leaders throughout St. Mary Parish to create a greater sense of community. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, do you care to add anything?
Yeah. The other thing is the part-time parish president. Look, let me say it like this. I'll serve as a full-time parish president even if we don't change it until the next term. But we have to do that. We cannot keep going with part-timers. They go to more parties than they go to business meetings. You know, that's ridiculous. We need someone who's dead serious about getting this parish back on track, getting it right, and correcting these mistakes that continue to happen over and over and over. Everything from fighting in the room.
That's your time. And final
from
question.
Fighting in the room to whatever.
The last question is to you, Mr. LeBlanc. Your responses first. If elected, how much of your time would you plan to devote to the seat of parish president?
Whatever it needs to get the job done. We have to turn St. Mary Parish around. Am I busy? Yes. But I promise you that I will dedicate as much time as needed for the parish presidency. You can make time for things that you're passionate about, and I am passionate about turning around St. Mary Parish. I truly believe I can make a difference. I'm able to be reached at any time, day, night, weekends, carry my phone all the time, and whatever it needs to happen. My kids are out of school, and my wife supports me 100%. I am committed to doing what is needed to be done for your parish president.
Mr. Jones?
You know, I've done that for 42 years, answered the calls.
made a list of, called people back, one by one, fixed their problems probably 95% of the time. 5% of the time you can't do it. But even those 5%, you call them back and explain why, and they appreciate that. They tell you that. We appreciate you calling us back. We're at a crossroads now. Are we going to keep doing what we've been doing? Part-time parish president shows up for a little while, then goes away. The CEO runs the parish. Nobody's got control of that. That's the only job the parish president has, to hire the CEO. He's not involved in day-to-day stuff or anything like that. We need to change the charter to make it work for us. Those other 17 parishes that are doing it, they're doing it right. They didn't lose any population. We're losing population. Why is that? Because we're just playing with this. We have to be serious. We have to get serious about this. And that's the only way out of this. It can be done. You will have me as full-time, even if you don't pay me, because I live here. My kids live here. My grandkids live here. Chittimachas, they love it here. We're not moving here. I've had ancestors here since 1756. This is home. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to die here, going to be buried here. We're going to go through this together, and we're going to win. We're going to win it, and we're going to serve it right.
Any comment or rebuttal?
I'm saying my comment is that the change is on the ballot. If you want change in St. Mary Parish, I will be your candidate. Thank you.
The change is not on the ballot because the man who's the parish president now is supporting him, and that's not change. Thank you.
We made it, everybody. Thank you, candidates. These questions were submitted by some of your citizens in St. Mary Parish. At this time, each candidate will have 3 minutes to summarize his candidacy. We will continue where we left off. Mr. Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last time I'm ever going to give a speech asking for you to vote. I've been doing this for a long time. Wasn't going to do it, so wasn't going to do it. Then when you look around and see who was thinking about it, who wasn't thinking about it, at some point you go and you sit down and say, okay, you can throw in the towel, you can quit, or you can go and try to help. I'm here to help. I'm here to correct what's wrong. I'm here. It'll take at least 2 to 3 years to get this thing back on track. As I said before, I had relatives here who fought in the Battle of Baton Rouge in the American Revolution. We've been in this thing the whole time. We've been in every war. We've had people shot that came to us. We've suffered, but we prevailed. We've lived. We still do. And if they come after us, we'll cut them down. This is just who we are. This is the greatest country in the history of the earth. There's no country greater than this one. And I'd just like to close by saying I would be awfully proud if you elect me this one final time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Mr. LeBlanc?
Thank you. It is time to stop making decisions based on political agendas and start doing what's good and right for St. Mary Parish. Mr. Jones has worked in the government for 40 years. Please ask yourself, are we better off today than we were 40 years ago? Time has changed. Our leadership needs to change. It is time for a new generation to take the reins and bring new ideas. I will support all employees of the parish. I have met with several of the directors of the parish already. John Paul and Evan are what is right for our parish. They are young, energetic, committed, and doing what is right. I will give every employee a chance and will lean on our directors and their experiences. Old ideas are not working for St. Mary Parish. I bring a new face, young energy, and a fresh look. I encourage everyone to check the facts. It will be my honor to serve as your next Parish President. On October 14, show your support for change and vote for me, Tim LeBlanc, number 87. Thank you.
Ma'am, rebuttal?
No, not for this.
Every job that I've ever had, I left it better than what I found.
Again, thank you, candidates, for sharing with us. If you will remain where you are, we do have one more candidate before we conclude this evening. We would like to, before you go, well, I'd like to shake everyone's hand. Give me a moment. Before we conclude this evening, we would like to invite Mrs. Gloria Robertson, a candidate for State Representative District 50, to give a 3-minute statement, as was allowed to the incumbent Representative St. Blanc at our last forum. Mrs. Robertson was in attendance, however, due to the forum ending early, she did not make it in time to give her statement. And in the spirit of fairness, we would like to give her that opportunity this evening.
Good evening, and I would like to thank everyone that's here tonight. I'm a little nervous. I had it down pat what I was going to say, but I'm going to say it quickly. My goal is to take care of our kids. I worry about the kids in St. Mary Parish more than I do anybody else. The suicide rates, it bothers me, the killings, all that. I was brought up here in Franklin, and it was a great time when I was a child. And I want to see my grandkids have the fun we had. They don't know it. I worry about the premiums for flood insurance. That's ridiculous. It's too high. I worry about the water in Sorrel. People are calling me complaining about the contaminated water, not being able to drink the water, pig farms and different things like that. I just would like to do something different and invite others to come and be a part of a committee that we can make Franklin better, and maybe the kids will stay, those that graduate from college and may come back and work here. The pay has to be better. That's one reason why they're not staying. The pay is terrible. So we have to look at the real reasons why we're losing individuals from Franklin. It's the pay, the jobs. So please vote for me. I'm number 80. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Robertson. At this time, I will invite our Chamber President, Beth Chasson, to close this evening.
Good evening again, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to remind everyone here with us this evening and all of you watching from home that the Chamber stands firm as an apolitical entity. We strive for fairness across all fronts, and we do our best to adhere to that standard. Thank you, Ms. Danica, for being our moderator this evening. I would like to thank all of you for taking time to be present with us this evening, whether in person or through live stream, and special thanks to our media partners for being here with us. I would like to take a moment to also thank our timekeeper, Ms. Lori Broussard. Again, our moderator, Ms. Danica Foley-Long, my staff, and our chairwoman for their support in planning these forums, and lastly, to Ms. Bonnie Knobloch and the staff of Bayou Bend for allowing us to utilize this beautiful facility for this evening's forum. We invite the public to mingle with the candidates a bit before leaving, but we do ask that you be respectful of everyone's time. If appointments need to be made for more in-depth discussions, please do so. I ask that you please join us on Monday, September 25th, that is next Monday, at Patterson Civic Center for our final in-person forum for St. Mary Parish Sheriff. And keep an eye out for our Parish Council Parish Council candidate publication due to be released next Friday on the 29th. Again, thank you for joining us. Have a great evening and a safe trip home.
And we want to thank you for joining us tonight. Again, you can join us again on Monday night for live coverage of the St. Mary Parish Sheriff's Forum, which will be live from the Patterson Civic Center beginning at 6 p.m. You can watch that live on all of the KQKI digital video platforms. I'm Brady Burrell for KQKI News, your local news leader. Have a great evening.